One of the things that the judge said today, he talked about family law, and he made a comment. I didn't quite catch it completely, but he made a comment to something that family law is one area where we have civil law and criminal law overlapping. And that's why you're having to get an attorney right now, because of the criminal element. So here you are, outstanding citizen, outstanding father, all of these things that you've mentioned. And now, not only have they kidnapped your child, but now you have to get an attorney to defend yourself against a criminal charge. And what is the criminal charge? Because after we've kidnapped your child, you need to pay child support. And if you don't pay that child support, that becomes contempt of court. You have a possible jail sentence coming your way. And by the way, you can get a public defender appointed to you if you make less than $12,490 a year. So that's something comforting for you.
Yes, and one of the things, just to notate on that, when we were doing all of this, it wasn't as though I'm not willing to take care of my daughter.
Right.
It's that there was things in the decree that were not put in there, that were told to be put in there, that the opposing counsel didn't do. So I had a motion for relief, and that actually was never heard. Because these things that were very important were never heard, they will not now be put into the decree, including having Skype conversations with my daughter, making sure she's going to the right school, all these things that are for the best interest.
Hey, go ahead.
I want to touch on this. I know the reason why they were not put in there is because the only thing put in these decrees is straight out of the family code. 100%, they're verbatim. And so these things that you're talking about would be customizing the new contract that's been forced upon you. Because if I'm understanding correctly, please confirm what I'm about to ask or state. But you, twice, the judge was absent.
Yes, I flew in. I came to town. I flew in, had to stay here, hotel, went to court, and he was either sick or absent. And then it was rescheduled for another month later. I flew in, again, had to stay in town, went to court, did everything as I was supposed to do, and he was absent again. So I was here.
The judge absent 2 times, in which period of time you were pro se.
They had to fly in on 2 separate occasions.
You fly in, expenses, and this is and one time where or actually prior to this, the opposing counsel just skips out on a hearing where the judge was present.
Absolutely. There was a time when I was ready. I even had the attorney ready. I had all the subpoenaed witnesses, and then the opposing counsel says, I'm going to leave the courtroom and go across the hallway, and never return. The court adjourned, and then 45 minutes after the court had adjourned, he returns. Now, what pro se person can leave a courtroom? What regular person can leave a courtroom and come back after the judge is in the court waiting, stands up and walks to his chamber? Now, if it was you and I, as both of you guys know, we would actually be in cuffs right now, walking outside with an escort.
And so you had that experience. This is after, I'm assuming, about a year or better in the court. You have this experience where attorney jets, judge lets him go. 2 times after that, court is scheduled. Judge is no-show. You're the only one there. And then all of a sudden, this is the playbook that they exact on pro se people. You're legitimately not able to show up to what would be the 4th at this point, the 4th hearing.
My mother actually has, she's very elderly, and at that time I'd already informed the court, even during the orders hearing, of what was going on. So they tried to sneak a quick court date. which was only going to give me 10 days. There was no way I'm going to be able to have somebody there for my mom to be able to take care of her and whatnot. I informed both counselors that could we have it at the end of the month. I was open to a hearing. I wanted to be heard, and yet they would not do that.
They wouldn't do it. Then you're not there, and then they did the 3-minute little seance, and then boom.
But what was even worse was this: is that they, for Mark, it was a little bit more than 3 minutes. But they said this: they said you are outside your 105 days. You have a 75-day window that you have to have this thing signed, and then for some other reason they can add another 30 days, 105 days. This was filed sometime in September. As you mentioned, he was here twice. The judge was not here. The judge was sick. The judge, he flew in from Florida twice, had to fly back, hotels, everything else. Twice he came here. And then today he finally gets heard in the amicus attorney, not the other opposing attorney. The amicus attorney says it's beyond basically the 105 days. And the judge says there's nothing I can do about it because it's beyond the 105 days.
Even if he believed everything, which
Even if
he
he believed
did
everything.
look like that. He
Yes.
was looking at me like, I wish I could help you out. But this is the law, and
But that is really depriving you of due process. Because
Absolutely.
the idea, they say, well, we've done all the procedural things, but they have not given you substantive due process. We actually have procedural things in place that deprive you of substantive due process.
many times, remember,
Yeah.
I was never heard for the TRO. They
Right.
just dropped
Yeah, I know, exactly. TROs are like,
And so now here you are. You've been basically railroaded through a mafia style.
well, at least the mafia
Star chamber,
you
yeah.
expected.
yeah,
But you've been running through what we call the star chamber.
exactly.
Let me back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you probably would be treated better by the mafia
Yes.
than the
They
star
have more
chamber.
ethics.
They did.
Is that not amazing, Jeff? I think that's a fair point.
I think it is too.
Yes,
They're,
absolutely.
they're not just picking on people.
No, you,
For no reason. I mean, look at if they're coming after you, and I look at. I have no association with the mafia. I've had friends that have said, certain things, but if they're going to come after you, there's a reason.
yes, and they have still a moral ground.
Right.
There's no morals in court
Right,
here. There
right.
is no morality. There's no any of this.
And they also have a strong emphasis on family.
Yes,
versus- yeah.
they will protect the family.
Yeah, they will protect their family.
Here they'll dissect the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a shame that you would get more justice from the mafia
Well,
than from
and so,
judges.
At least with a mafia, you have another mafia family. Here, they're all one family, and you're always that individual not associated with the mafia.
Right. So, Mark, Brandon's got to go right now. I
Absolutely.
got to take off here too. But thanks so much. And by the way, we have made some recommendations for an attorney here. I hope you get in touch with him.
I will.
And
I will.
and this, and this whole idea that the way that this law is, the time frames that were in place. You did everything. You appeared twice. You flew from Florida to Texas twice. You got hotels twice. The judge was not there, and he should have been there. And now because of that, you are paying a price. Something needs to be done. There needs to be some type of exceptions that would be made. There's got to be some type of an override. It's like there's always an override that you should be able to implement to say this is a disaster. We need to stop this. And in this instance, I believe that even though the judge is saying, listen, I have no jurisdiction because the 105 days ran out, they're technically right, I can't do anything. Even though it seemed like he wanted to, he's invoking that. There needs to be an override in place that to say, you know what, I'm sorry, but if the judge did not get there and you've been waiting this time, we add another 30 days. Or you came a second time, well, we add another 30 days.
Absolutely,
So-
absolutely, and that would be the ethical thing to do. And
An
unfortunately,
ethical thing to do.
here we are, and we both know, all three of us know now, that it's not about ethics, it's not about morals, it's about the dollar, and
Yeah.
it's about getting your dollar.
Right. And thank you so much for your time, Brandon. Thanks for coming out. You drove quite some
Yeah.
distance today to be here.
Yeah.
And thanks.
All right.